Welcome, and thank you for joining us. I'm Lenora Farrington. To Code Breaking. It's helped so much personally and professionally. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. I've been working with Code Breaking since spring of 2023, and it's been the missing link in my career. There's a lot of layers to it. But the shortest explanation I can think of is that it's like Myers-Briggs for business combined with love language, but in this case, it's decision-making language. What does your client need to make decisions? I've been a realtor since 2018. Coming from a background as a paralegal and in marketing, I should have been especially well qualified going in, but I struggled with the sales aspect. I dove into all the training I could, and they all alluded to identifying your prospect's personality type. Are they introverts or extroverts? Are they type A? Like Tony Robbins says, let your prospect determine your presentation. But they all went in depth about who, when, and where. None of them talked about how. How do you decode your prospect? And what do you do with that information if you're lucky enough to get it? I was still spinning my wheels and putting a lot of work and effort in, but my conversion rates were low. So the prospects I was essentially volunteering for ended up not buying or using someone else. It was so frustrating. Then you introduced me to code breaking. This teaches you how right away for almost every prospect I ever lost, not understanding why or what I could have done differently. I now got it and exactly how to avoid it again. If there are 4 personality types, I was speaking in my own dominant style, which works for my prospects only if they happen to match mine. But if they were one of the other 3, I was losing them. There are a lot of layers to this onion, and a lot of science and research went into it, yet it's really easy to use to connect and collaborate with your prospects, so you both feel like a real team. They find you captivating, interesting, and an excellent professional that's 100% what they're looking for, and you're butting heads with them a lot less, communicating more effectively, and doing it completely honestly and authentically. I think we'll spend most of our time here explaining what code breaking is and how to use it. But first, we're going to give you the short version of the bottom line, the story behind it, the science behind it, and how it's helping people across industries. Finally, we'll explain how it's expanding and why it really is the future of sales, not just sales and marketing, but also management, services, training, and education. In code breaking, BANK is an acronym for the 4 main personality types: blueprint, action, nurturing, and knowledge. For you action types, you get bored easily, so I'll start with the bottom line for you first. The goal here is to improve your sales conversions by up to 300% with less time and energy on your part by shortening the sales cycle. You'll learn how to decode your prospects in 90 seconds or less so you can skip what they consider fluff and get right to what's important to them. Blueprints, you're going to want to know how we're going to accomplish that. And nurturing types, you'll be glad to hear it's by understanding your prospects better and learning to speak their language. At any given time, we're projecting and speaking in the language of our own decision-making type. But we each have a little of all 4 types in us. Once we understand who we're talking to, we can get in touch with that side of ourselves and communicate in their language and still be perfectly authentic about it. So instead of cold calling and speaking only to one language and plowing through rude no's in Bulgarian, Algerian, Nigerian, and Korean to get to the one language we do speak, we can learn to recognize and speak the 3 other languages, thus the 300%. This knowledge that may be simplified math, but independent studies show, and those are attached in the comments if you want to take them home and study later, that only 18% of people will buy from a personality type that doesn't match their own, as opposed to 82% when they do align. So that improves our conversion rates from the get-go. And then we can shorten the sales cycle by giving our prospects exactly what they need from the beginning, rather than figuring out what they need by trial and error as we go along, potentially losing them before we can close because we keep giving them the wrong things. The story behind this: code breaking began as the brainchild of Cherry Tree, then a struggling financial advisor. She had impressive early success in sales, reselling candy she'd bought wholesale out of her backpack in elementary school, and later creating a concession stand in her boarding school bedroom. But these had only translated into $8,000 a year in sales as a professional. The science behind it: to turn that around, Cherry Tree took all of the usual classes, just like we all did, read all the usual books. If you've done the same, you know the advice is to plow through all the demoralizing no's faster to get to more yeses by the end of the day. She studied DISC and personality types, but it left her with unanswered questions. How does knowing if somebody's an introvert or an extrovert help improve your conversion rates or help them make a decision faster? She wasn't satisfied, so she dug deeper, all the way back to Aristotle and his original personality types, the 4 temperaments. So the science behind this goes back thousands of years to Aristotle. She followed the development all the way through modern day personality science, combining it with behavioral science, because she's applied personality types to how they affect decision making and buying behavior. Ready to apply what she learned, she set an outrageous goal of $200,000 during the shortest month of the year, February. She sold well over that goal, a record that's yet to be broken. Cherry brought on a team and taught them her path to success. She spent 20 years honing the program and training salespeople in her home state of Hawaii, finding impressive success for them in fields including marketing, sales, real estate, education, even chiropractors. That, to me, goes to show how applicable this is to any industry, because every industry involves people communicating, negotiating, and decision-making with equal partners and teams. In fact, Cherry's students reported back a surprising bonus effect. The training improved their personal as well as professional relationships. Understanding behaviors helped them communicate better with their children, their spouses, and their loved ones. Even counselors and teachers found it helpful. Cherry went on to write the best-selling book, Why They Buy, to share the formula with others. Now she's pulled the book off the shelves and into cyberspace, creating online training and an accompanying CRM software complete with AI to make it available worldwide. But before we get into all that, let's cover the basis. What is code breaking and how do you use it right now? BANK is an acronym for the 4 personality types: blueprint, action, nurturing, knowledge. It's also a system for working with each of them. Remember, you have a dominant type. You'll recognize you when we get to you, but you also have a little of all 4 in you. You'll be able to relate to the other 4 in your own way. So when you know who you're talking to, you can just get in touch with that side of yourself and speak their language authentically and honestly. Now, here's the difference between BANK and DISC or Myers-Briggs. What does that mean? Now that you know, you're going to adjust your presentation to match your prospects' needs and decision language by remembering their values as you speak to them. It works like this. Starting with blueprint, the core values: stability, structure, systems, planning, processes, predictability, responsibility, rules, duty, credentials, titles, and tradition. What does that mean? A blueprint wants an upfront outline of what your process is going to look like start to finish. That would turn off other styles. An action, for instance, would get overwhelmed by it. They want to know what you need from them right now. That's it. Others might want a heads up about what'll be next, but all the way through to the end would be too much for most. They'll lose track of what you just asked for. But a blueprint feels lost if they don't have a map, so give them the plan. A blueprint wants you to make an appointment with them well in advance and stick to it. They're very time conscious. They show up early to appointments. If you want to stay on their good side, you do too. If you're running late, pull over and text or call before the appointment was supposed to start, even if it means adding on to the ETA. Don't leave them hanging. That's how you show them you respect their time. If you were to add a slide or page to your presentation just for the blueprint client, it would highlight your relevant credentials, titles, awards, and years of experience, any coverage in industry-related publications, reviews from industry experts carry weight, mention hobbies you might have in common, but don't dwell, and don't mention your side gig. When you're with a blueprint, you are laser focused on what you do. The blueprint sets a budget for the year and they stick to it. Go ahead and ask what it is and design your package to fit, not push their budget. If you're recommending any extra, you're suggesting they consider it when they plan next year's budget. If you pressure them to expand their budget now, you'll come across as a pushy salesperson. Likewise, if you pressure them to be the first to try a new product, let your action clients be the guinea pigs, report back to the blueprint on their success after the fact. A blueprint is highly risk averse and reluctant to change. If it's a tried and true tradition, that must be for a reason. So if you're asking them to change providers, you're going to need to make the case that it's a bigger risk to keep doing what they're doing than to change. Be prepared to mitigate risk with a set trial period or money-back guarantees. Next is action. Their core values: freedom, flexibility, spontaneity, opportunity, excitement, attention, stimulation, competition, winning, fun, and image. They expect you to value their time, but in a very different way from blueprints. They're going to be late to most every appointment and don't mind if you are too. Show in action you value their time by not bogging down in every detail. They'll make a decision quickly based on gut instinct. They'll need you to skip to the bottom line of what this means for them. How is this going to help them beat out their competition and still have the freedom, flexibility, spontaneity that they find so exciting and fun? They want to feel like the center of attention, so don't be texting other clients when you're with them, but do answer their queries promptly. They like to be first to the punch, so anytime you have a new product, try them first and let them know you're giving them a sneak peek. If you have a cancellation on your schedule, reach out. They love a spontaneous opportunity. Image is important, so take care in your appearance and have some brand name or designer items on you. Brag a bit about you and your team's numbers and accomplishments, but don't go on and on about you. Remember, this is about them. Match or exceed their energy. If you're not excited about your product, why should they be? Now we have nurturing. Their core values are relationships, authenticity, personal growth, significance, teamwork, involvement, community, charity, ethics, harmony, morality, contribution. Don't try to fake it till you make it. Be honest and they'll respect you for it. even if it means sharing your vulnerability and about lack of experience, or having to research the answers they need instead of knowing everything off the top of your head. Introduce them to your team and connect them with other resources and relationships they need. They want to know you and your company are morally, charitably, and ethically conscious and involved in the community. If you added an extra slide in the presentation, it might mention any charitable work or donations your company has done. A discount might not mean as much as a percentage of proceeds going to a good cause. They want to know how what you're offering is going to help not just them, but improve the community at large. They want to know this is a win-win, and they avoid confrontation. So offer to handle firing their old company if you're replacing someone. Actions might want everything to be a competition, but nurturing finds that too confrontational. They want us all to support each other to the finish line together. Nurturers are too busy making the world a better place to worry about money, so they might not be your top paying customer, but they love connecting and helping people. So call them first when you need a referral, review, or a reference. They'll be happy to help. Finally, we have knowledge, learning, intelligence, logic, self-mastery, technology, research and development, science and universal truths, expertise, competence, accuracy, the big picture. Knowledge will take the longest to make a decision, and they probably were your most labor-intensive prospects, but that was before you discovered code breaking, because now you understand you can't sell a knowledge. The knowledge has to sell themselves. You provide the information and materials and then get out of the way. Make a Dropbox or a Google Docs file with all the data, studies, and articles and share it with them. Then give them the time to do their due diligence. It's a pain in the butt to put together the first time, but in most industries, you only have to do it once and keep it updated. You can use the same folder for every knowledge prospect you have. They hate to be wrong and get bogged down in analysis paralysis. So do set a deadline, but don't try the same high pressure tactics that actions respond well to. Just let them know you'll be following up at a specific date. If there's a practical reason a decision is time sensitive, share that. They want to work with the top experts in any industry. So if that's not you, but it is someone in your team or office, let them know you'll be in touch with that person on their case on a regular basis. Don't guess, round up, ballpark, or otherwise BS a knowledge. They'll see right through it and you'll discredit yourself. Be accurate and precise, or it'll bite you in the butt later. On to decoding. Now, how, as a beginner, do you decode a new prospect in 90 seconds? Simple. You just ask. Show them the cards and ask in this very specific way. The script has something to appeal to each type. Hand over the cards and say, before we get started, please do me a quick favor. Take a look at the information on these cards, read the values, and sort them in your order of choice, from the most important card on top to the least important card on the bottom. This will help me understand you and your needs better and save us both some time. You see how that has a section to appeal to each type? Tell them it's only going to take 90 seconds and not a lot of people will say no. It helps to have a few sets of cards on you. It's a great icebreaker for a business meeting. If you're in an industry like real estate, where getting spouses or partners to a joint decision is half the battle, you can hand them to both at the same time without making one look or feel less important than the other. We mentioned the side effects of helping communicate better with their own families. You also help your prospects understand what their partner's decision-making language is and how it differs from their own. They make cards with pictures for kids too, so you can get the whole family involved. Educators and counselors have been finding them helpful too in determining different kids' learning and motivation styles. You can take a stack of them to a boardroom before a presentation too. It makes a great icebreaker and helps you make last-minute adjustments about points to emphasize in your presentation. So with this information, you understand the different bank types. They each need different things to make a decision, and they often find whatever the other types need to be a turnoff for them. The blueprint wants to know that this is a time-honored method, but others find that irrelevant, and action wants to be the first with a new and improved method. What the action needs to hear, the others find too salesy and aggressive. Where the nurturer needs to know this is good for the community, not just them, the others find way too touchy-feely. The details the knowledge needs to read, the others find overwhelming. But now you can skip the trial and error, which takes up time and risks losing your prospect. Now, why is this the future of sales? What we just gave you is a great overview of the types for the time we have. With that knowledge and one set of cards, you can get started using this right away. Know that the online training goes into a lot more depth and detail about how to appeal to their values, avoid their pet peeves and pitfalls, how to speed code their dominant type, and what the subtypes mean and when to expect those to kick in and how to plan for that. Now, I want to give you a sneak peek of what we have under the hood. The Bank Vault has advanced training. There's so much here, it's overwhelming to know where to start. It's designed so you can focus on what's important to you. That way you don't waste time, money, and energy. You can go at your own pace and discontinue when you've gotten as much as you can. I'd suggest starting with the audiobooks, which you can plow through while you're driving or washing the dishes. If you're in sales or service, move on to the sections that matter to you. If there's a specific section on your field, like real estate, do that next. Not to be missed is the speed coding, so you can train yourself to pull out their dominant code instantaneously. It won't even take 90 seconds. Scripting is a gold mine. Anyone in sales has had cheesy scripts pushed on us that don't feel like us, that feel forced and inauthentic because they don't match our type, and doesn't that turn off a nurturer? They're usually written by actions for actions, which means they turn off everybody else. They tell you to personalize it and then yell at you for leaving off the aggressive call to action. Then you're just told to chain yourself to a phone and plow through all the verbal abuse and get as many no's as possible to get to the maximum number of yeses at the end of the day, and expect you to still have the energy to service those prospects and keep prospecting. Imagine if you could tweak every script and sales presentation for each type and easily adapt as soon as you speed read the room. Having an extra slide for each type that you can slip in or skip over as needed, watching the fear kick in as they're about to sign and stop themselves, and knowing exactly what to ask to find out how to pivot, what to say, and which slide to go back to alleviate their fears. Here's the thing, we're just getting started. With the online subscription, you can also get a link to send you prospects where they do the cards online. They get this cute, fun personality report as your free gift to them. They get automatically plugged into your CRM, which comes with the subscription. And you get this cheat code report telling you exactly what to focus on and what to avoid. You can get this for every prospect before your meeting. And, oh, we haven't even mentioned the AI yet. You can plug their texts or their emails, and the AI will quick code it for you, even while you're still going through the training. You can run your response by the AI, and it'll let you know if you're speaking your prospect's language or not. If your buyer's remorse kicks in and we've suddenly changed personality types, that's the subtypes stepping in. Use the AI to decode that panicked text, and then you can respond appropriately and talk them through it. Oh, and there's a Chrome extension, so you don't have to spend all day copying and pasting. Just check out, for example, their LinkedIn. Push the button and the AI will instantly decode them based on their profile, and push another button and it'll plug them right into your CRM. Imagine having that cheat sheet code report on every prospect or listing agent before you pick up the phone, and on everyone at the table before you walk in the room. Or the inverse. Imagine you're the only one at the table that doesn't have this. This is why this is the future of sales. You're going to need this to compete in the future. You can have it first or you can have it last. Sell or be sold, there's no getting around it. It's inevitable. There is a referral aspect too, so you'll get a bonus commission if you're a mentor for sharing this with your team, your friends, and your family too. So thank you for joining us. With that training and the cards, you have the basics to get started using Bank to decode your prospects and improve your sales conversion rates and even your relationships. We hope you enjoyed. Reach out with questions. We'll leave the data in the comments for you knowledge folks, along with sign-up links, pricing for the online subscriptions, and a way to order extra cards. Thank you.